Good morning, my name's Ruth McDougall. I'm the Curator of Pacific Art here at the Queensland Art Gallery, Gallery of Modern Art. It's wonderful to see you all here this morning for one of our earliest programs and enjoying, I hope, the opening weekend of the 8th Asia Pacific Triennial of Contemporary Art. I'd like to begin by acknowledging the traditional owners of the land on which we meet and paying my respects to elders past and present. Today we are fortunate to be joined by Emmanuel Kasarhérou, the Deputy Director of Heritage and Collections at the Quai Branly Museum in Paris, Marcel Meltherorong, the Co-curator of the Yumi Danis project for APT8, a musician and novelist from Vanuatu, APT8 artists Nicolas Molé and Julia Mage'au, and also Simon Wenetham, who is also one of the participants in the Yumi Danis project. Our guests on the panel will consider the Yumi Danis We Dance project and its use of video, dance and choreography as a medium for engaging audiences with Pacific culture. We will have time at the end for questions, so please do respond to the panel. And without further ado, please welcome the guests.
Iwekainapan, inyapi pane IPM e show, Huameke Yebun, Ipunieti, Huachefer, Taman, Nicolas, Guillaume Huach, Oleti. Je suis de ma famille, je suis de mon peuple, je suis d'une communauté de destin. Mais comment suis-je si tout cela éclate? A écrit un jour Edgar Morin, ayant tous de l'égard pour ce refrain. L'humus, comme l'humain, ont un tout petit point commun. Tirent son origine du sol et ne font qu'un. Au contact des pâquerettes et du foin, ils s'enracinent, s'enrichissent avec soin, chérissant leurs liens, accompagnés d'un regard omniscient et non malveillant venant de tous nos anciens. Paraît quelquefois en totem, lézard, requin. Cela dépend du pays, du lieu ou du recoin. Nous enseigne qu'il y a un ensemble à respecter aussi beau et fragile que du lin. L'humanité s'est rapprochée petit à petit de lui-même et de chacun, que l'on soit des grands vieux ou des tout petits gamins, pour tendre vers la sagesse qui vient des cieux, que certains questionnent trop souvent pour connaître leur lendemain. L'être humain d'hier, d'aujourd'hui, pour demain, ont trouvé des réponses dans plusieurs petits chemins, inspirés du sol, des cieux et surtout de leur quotidien. Le premier qui me vient, la danse. Un art corporel intellectuel. Il y a aussi le tatouage, marque d'un savoir intemporel. Maquillage, illusion ponctuelle tant pour lui que pour elle. Car dans l'histoire, le corps a le devoir d'un support permanent pour un moment s'évapore, pour nous montrer que derrière le réel, il y a quelque chose de très fort, spirituel. Savoir d'où est-ce que l'on vient, d'où est-ce que l'on sort, culturel. Avoir un certain confort, artificiel, c'est vrai. L'habit ne fait pas le moine, mais du moins il s'habille. Nous à l'origine, on s'habille d'image, on se sublime et s'imagine car on s'abîme avec l'âge. En tout temps, à tout âge. Auparavant, c'était tatouage permanent. Maintenant, c'est maquillage pour un petit moment. Mais pourquoi? En gros, écrit en gras, sentir son identité et la tenir. Que l'on s'habille, pour souhait, tamoko. L'être humain d'hier, d'aujourd'hui, pour demain, ont trouvé des réponses dans plusieurs petits chemins, inspirés du sol, des cieux et surtout de leur quotidien, pour tendre vers la sagesse qui vient. Tiens, une phrase me vient. Tout ce qui monte finit par retomber en vain. Mais l'homme de culture, qu'importe sa couleur, retombe sur ses racines et en son sein. Pour la culture, à travers le temps, les civilisations, les traditions, ce n'est que le début et non la fin.
Thanks, Simone. First, I'd just like to offer my congratulations to Marcel. As co-curator of Yumi Danis. I can only imagine how pleased and proud you are. And also to you, Nico, like the artwork there it's quite overwhelming, really, and it's exciting to see the response from it. I really like the way it's very playful, but also very serious and important. And for me, certainly, I had the feeling that there's lots going on that I'm not really able to perceive. Yeah, for me, it was very much like fireworks in slow motion happening inside my body as it built up and finally delivered. It's quite amazing. This morning we're talking about the chorography of Yumi Danis, and there's already been a little bit of confusion about the meaning of the term chorography. It's not precisely choreography, meaning the way the dance happens, but the chorography from the Greek word chora, for region. So through chorography, we can visualize a picture of the tangible and intangible elements of place, a fluid and poetic reimagining that integrates elements of history, story, dance, mythology, and genealogy, and personal reflection. The Yumi Danis project brings together artists from around the watery continent, the one sole water of Oceania, using digital video as a medium for engaging audiences in dialogue. And this dialogue is about, and I'm just going to read from Marcel's text that's available on the cards up outside the installation. It's a dialogue about the preservation of legends in dance, when custom and ancient rituals are the written history, and they're opposed against the emergence of a Western system of sciences, directing these legends in other ways. There is a constant struggling of Indigenous minds in trying to find a role to play in this new way of life. But in many ways, the dance and the art in general is building up a capacity, a safe sphere where we have a possibility to safely accumulate what we are, inspired by others, and trans-dance it. In fact, we are all creating a safe sphere along our lifeways that is vital for an individual. From another perspective, that's how dance or art safe keeps our cultural sphere, as different identities living in different islands on one ocean. I find this idea of trans dancing really interesting, and I think it reflects a sensitivity to the meanings of place. And the idea of trans dance as a dynamic embodiment of a relationship with place, and with the different scales of place, the local, the regional, and the global. All of this to me comes through in the performances and the installation upstairs. It comes through in quite a complex way. It's not a simple process of saying, well, this is an object from this particular place in Vanuatu, or this is a dance from the Solomon Islands. I'm wondering if you guys can speak to this idea of trans dancing. And I might start with you, Marcel. What does it mean?
Trance dancing. I like making up words because sometimes it's hard to translate what we feel as artists and the journey that we done since the beginning of the art, when we started to really perform our art. And trance dancing, I find it like really, it explains what the feeling that we have when we dance. It's like we transport something with just a medium, or transpass a time, transpass a story. Through the dance, we give a kind of meaning for now. And sometimes it's not the same meaning as it was at the beginning, at the origin of the dance, when the dance was created. Trance dancing is, for artists, and I know Julia and Nico maybe won't agree with me, but I hope, yeah. It's when we dance or when we perform our arts, we like transiting. We are in a kind of transit station, place, from the reality and this unseen world that we dance for, the story of the warriors, the story of Vavine, or who fell in love with another man, or the story of the Kenu. We kind of be in a sphere which is really safe for us to get things, grab things, hear the story from elders, know the feeling of a youth. We kind of be in a cell, a safe cell, not a jail, but a cell where we can really give what we feel. That's why I wanted to, with trance dancing. Yeah. It makes sense?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Nico, for you, I guess being an international man of mystery in some ways, but someone who's still very connected to a local place, a village, an island, but also connected to systems outside of the village. Does what Marcel says resonate for you too?
Yes, I think we have this connection always. Well, it's genetic thing, and it's in our blood. So I'm sorry I don't understand all for the English. It's difficult for me always when you speak it fast.
Me or Marcel? Both.
Well, it's Sunday morning. So
How would you say that that those ideas of living locally and living globally inform the artwork that you do?
I don't know. It's a reflection about what happened today, and what I said before, what I have in my blood, what I speak with my friend, with my brothers, the stories of the country, with the children who's looking Facebook and things like that. It's all what we live. So you have some reflection, and it's what you say, Marcel, maybe you have some connection with this and trance thing too. It's difficult to explain. What I always say, for me, it's my ancestor put my head like this and give me the idea. So I don't know how it's happening, but it's in our life and how we feel the thing.
Julia, any comments?
Yes. I think listening to Marcel and Nico, it's a lot. I mean, that's how I create dance or any of the work that we do now. So it's based in the old. So our motto is from old to new old. And so basically we're looking at what's come in the past and how we can translate that to fit where we are today, right now. And yeah, we're the conduit, we're the medium, we're the voice for what was before, what's now, and what we give to the next generation. So yeah, it's Yumi Danis is that. It's that solidifying who we are, and not having to talk about identity, but actually talking about what we want to tell the next, it's just our expression of who we are. It's not really who am I, it's this is who we are together.
Yeah. Emmanuel, I was lucky enough to hear you speak in Brussels earlier this year, and you spoke about a similar type of understanding of the way the ancestors are speaking or embodied in different objects. I think you were saying that many of the objects that are in Europe now that have come from the Pacific, that people in the villages where they've come from often have quite sophisticated sense of what the meaning of those objects are and what they're doing. Do you recall?
Yeah. Yes, that was a discussion about the relationship between the historical collections in Europe and the island where they came from. Yes, I guess what we're talking here is about the kind of special relationship we may have in this part of the world, especially in Melanesia. There's what I can hear and what I can feel myself by looking at things or trying to reflect on things, that there is a kind of common spirit, in fact. Melanesia, when you look at it, it's a continent of island, but at the same time, it's an archipelago of cultural languages. We have so many differences, but when it's like looking at a forest. When you look at a forest, you look at it at a lot of different things. You can't even name everything. It's too diverse. But then, after a while, you sit, you observe, you try to feel what the people who have been there before you can tell you, what you can't see, and then you see something which is much give sense to all the diversity you have seen. And this is what sometimes I can feel in the work of different people in Melanesia.
Yeah. Marcel, do you want to take us on a little bit of a journey from the start of the project? Because you, I understand from the start of the project, you actually travelled around quite a bit. And was it that kind of process of sitting down and trying to feel which type of input you would take from different places?
From the start of the project, I was like, kind of, why me? Because I'm a musician, and I was quite surprised. Anyway. After that, I tried to really show a picture of the region of the Ring of Fire, and it starts with a sound drawing from Vanuatu, which represents the universe. And through that sound drawing, I started to think about all this relation that we have, people from the Ring of Fire and the whole ocean of the Pacifica. We believe that we have a relation, a connection with the spirit worlds and the gods up there. And I discovered after that all the dances, plenty of the dances are related to that connection. So that's what I wanted to show. Not the dances, not the masks, not the carving, not the sound drawing, but really the meaning of all of that. And it was quite impossible at that time, and the first thing we did with Ruth is to organize a kind of camp, coming together from all the artists from each place, countries, Solomon, PNG, Fiji, Kanaki, New Caledonia, Vanuatu, to a small place where there's a volcano in Vanuatu, Marum, to try cook up something, to try, without telling even the artists what we wanted from them. And it quite works, really. They just give what they had, and yeah, that was wonderful. The project just come in place, and Nico came with his hand and his eyes and his feeling and his stories too, and put all the things together in the installation. And starting from that, we just realized that we kind of, as Emmanuel say, a big place, but with one spirit. Yeah.
How was the process for you? So you went to Marum as well?
Yes. Well, it was funny because I remember for the first meeting with Ruth and Marcel, it was difficult always with my English. And after Ruth write me a mail to say me, well, we have a dance festival in Marum in Vanuatu, and you have to come. And I say, why? I'm not a dancer. Why I have to come? What I do? No, just for the feeling with the people. So we stay there, and for me, I'm a plastician artist, and I think it's always important to share your heart with different medium. So it was a very great experience for me, because the time for the creation in plastic is not the same time with the dancer. And for me, it's my first experience with all the dancers, with all people of Melanesia, and you feel like you are with your family, with your brothers. Maybe at the beginning, I don't know nobodies, but now I know they are all my family, because we have this same feeling in what we have to do in the creation. Maybe not with the same time, but with the same mind. Yes, I think, and it was very wonderful for me because it gave me a lot of things. I think, I know, I'm sure. Well, Marum have this feeling to be very strong island, and we are isolated, working together, eating together, and it's what happened today. For this job is not only from us, I think, from what we live together there, and what the people of the island of Melanesia give it to us to do the job. When I remember when we have the custom, the guys give you some. Because we arrived, we have Melanesian people, like we go to the war, but we have the creation to make the war and to show what we have in the earth and how we live. Well, I think.
Julia, for you, well, for me, Marcel and I have both worked on a lot of projects together, but often they're music projects, and the dance comes along as an addition to the music. The music provides the foundation, and then the dance comes. But it seems like in this project, that sort of thing was reversed.
Yeah, and so it should, eh? It was interesting because, the majority of us were dancers, and but in saying that, we're also musicians because we don't separate music and dance, and we don't. Yeah, there's no. I mean, it's not like you only do music and you only dance, and you have to do everything because you have to make your costume to dance, you have to sing to be involved in the dance, and you have to know the story. So it's kind of, it was just a really positive way to sort of connect with everybody else, and we didn't know each other, and so sharing a dance that with each other and teaching each other, and then having to. It's actually something that I've been doing since forever, because I live in Darwin, Northern Territory, and it's a really multicultural place. So it's something that we've always done, but to actually do that in Marum with Melanesian brothers and sisters, that was really cool, because we didn't have to, there were some things we didn't have to teach each other. It was just, 100%. We went hard. People liked to roll on the ground, others didn't. You learn about toilets, and it was like, it wasn't a city, it was a village. So, and that experience was really good for a lot of us as well. Yeah, to see. And then when we came here and we were in cafes, it felt wrong.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, to see everybody's face, and we're meant to be in Marum. This is the wrong setting. But yeah. But no, it was a really strong connection made there.
Why did you choose Umbrim, Marcel?
For the connection that Ambrim have with the spirit world, with the volcanoes, and with the belief that in Malekula, where I'm from, we believe that the spirits have an afterlife. He has to do a journey from his place back to south of Malakula and then cross the sea to go inside the volcano and then enter the spirit world. So that's why I choose Ambrim. And Ambrim is the place where Theo, another artist, is somewhere here in the room, or not.
No, he's not.
Yeah,
here.
he's kind of a magic man. He can appear and disappear. Yeah.
He was here.
Yeah, and that's why I choose Ambrim, because we have an artist from Ambrim. He's a musician. He's also a performer, and his place is in the road, in the path to the volcano, on the road, on the path to the volcano. And yeah, I was like the kind of place we walk with everyone. Like some fears the volcano, some fear the volcano, like it was something that in their belief they won't just even approach it. But some were like, oh yeah, I have to, face it, challenge myself, and go to. Yeah, it was a good experience. Yeah.
So there's a real sense of interconnectivity about a lot of the elements of the project, that the music and the dance are not separate things. Julia, continuing on from that theme, I watched your film, Tep Talk, over the weekend, and it's quite amazing. Congratulations on that. One of the really interesting things I thought that's in there that really sort of only touched on in an articulated way, and yet there throughout the whole thing, is the connection between tattoo and dance.
Yeah.
Yeah. Can you
The marks. Yeah. Oh, it's just, it's part of the language. It's part of helping people read who you are when you dress. So, you're not dressing just to look pretty. It's also to let people know who you are, what you are, whether you should be marrying that person because, it might be related. It's practical. It's very practical. So we are very spiritual, but it's based in practicality. And so it's not that kind of idea of, we must enter this world. It's practical. And whilst you do that, you have to acknowledge everything. And it's this idea of, I don't know how to explain it, but I think when you walk into the Yumi Danis room, you feel it. And that's easier to explain than trying to come up with words that I don't have.
Yeah, I think that's a good point. The way that the space is structured from the moment that you approach it, it's an inside thing. You have to take your shoes off. You have to duck down to go inside, and instantly you're not quite sure what the word is.
Transported.
Something like that. Yeah, you're in a different space, and I think one of the really amazing things is and I think it's a combination of everybody, but for me, there's a sense. Well, I guess I'll rewind a little bit. One of the early conversations that we had in planning for it, there was a project that Marcel and I both were involved in Vanuatu, and it was lots of musicians from all around the world came together and were sharing different beats and rhythms and stories and dances. And there's a photo from that project of a young person, a young Vanuatu media producer who was documenting the process. And there's a photo of her standing inside a village hut with a window in front of her, and there's a desk with an editing suite and cables everywhere, and clearly it's in the village. And she's looking out the window, and so it has this sort of juxtaposition of the technology and all that kind of thing in the front, and then outside the window is all of these people dancing and playing music, and it was one of the, I can't remember what we said about it, but what's interesting to me is that, I found that quite a powerful intergenerational sort of thing, with the young person there looking at this stuff that was, connected to the past somehow. But what I feel like has been done is that that's kind of completely turned inside out with Yumi Danis. When you enter the space, when you go in there, for me, I really felt like I was inside someone else's perspective completely. And I think that's a really incredible achievement that you guys have pulled off. It's a little disconcerting, I have to say, but I think all good.
Yeah,
the
right.
best art has to be, So yeah, congratulations again. Nico, the shadow seems to be an important theme for you, perhaps. The way that the light and the shade and the color, all kind of they work to create the dynamic and the movement within the piece.
Yes. Well, the shadows, the dark, the night, all of these things. I like to be in the night, listening, looking. Well, the perception change, and all can happen, and the magical thing can happen. So, simply thing for me. It's like, I think for all Melanesian people, we have this relation with the night and with the shadow movement on the forest and things like that. So it's an interconnection with this time of 20 hours on the day. So.
Yeah, it's amazing because you're in there, and then there's the small house inside as well, with those spectral images of the dancers inside. And then even when you go in there, you have the smell of the pandanus mats, and you can breathe it in, and that also transports you to another place as well.
Yes, but it's the same thing. Well, because in our village, the construction is like this. Emmanuel maybe can help me with what I want to put. It's you have always this chemin au milieu de la case, path in front of the case, and you have always behind the case the death world of the people. So all the organization I want to put inside, it's the Melanesian organization, maybe more than in New Caledonia. I don't know if it's the same in other parts of Melanesia. But it was simply thing, finally, because it's how we live, what all people give us. So I find the response in what they do before, and I translate this in contemporary thing. So,
Marcel, did you feel that Nico got it all in there?
Yeah, we discussed a lot, like in Ambrim, when we were at Ambrim, we discussed a lot about this night thing that welcome spirits and other things, and these day things that welcome people to do walks and to be active, and a place where both can meet, this house, and how the people came through the Pacific and activate the land. When they came here, like the land was just here, and people just came and put their flower on it, like the colors on it. They just, and yeah, and Nico just had it all in his mind. He just like, did it. Nice one.
And the process of creating the safe space. So after the ceremony on Thursday to bless the space and to engage with the traditional owners and open up the space, how did you feel like that? Do you feel that it is a safe space here?
I felt like we did all the process. The process all were done. Like the local people here sweep and clean our path to their place, and then others from the people from Aotearoa, they bless all the product, all the things, the carvings and all the works that are here, and we just came to say thank you for that. So, yeah, we were safe. After that, we were like, doing what we want, really. Yeah, we feel safe, and this sphere, this little safe sphere that I was talking about earlier. I feel that it's this insulation, you can feel that. It's a sphere where you can feel safe. No matter there's something going on, sometimes it can scare you, but yeah, you feel that you have no fear really inside. Or is not angry.
Yeah, I do. I know, I think you feel the magic, in fact, of Ambrim you wanted to share with them. As far as I understand, you went to Ambrim because it's a place of origin for you. And it's also, it's like going back to the origin or going back to the well where you can try to refeed yourself with energy from the origin, which Nicolas translated into the installation, because Ambrim is very famous in our region for his powerful magic. So maybe it's a place where, when we live with a lot of things around us. We can't see them. We just may feel them. Sometimes, coming back to what you said about looking at things, you have all people saying that if you want to go further with your relationship with what you can't see, you mustn't look on the two sides here, because if you look, you kill it. So you have to practice of not looking on both sides, so something will grow and you'll be able to see more. And this is what happened when you go inside your installation, in fact. You see nothing happen, and then it's something, a bit of light on there. I think it's a very interesting translation of the kind of thing you listen in villages and people from the old tradition, and then you try to translate it into an installation in a kind of situation here, an audience. That's very, very powerful.
I think on that note we might open it up for questions or comments from anyone in the audience. There's someone up the back there. Is one already? Oh no, just stretching.
No, Yuki.
Oh, waiting for the microphone.
Testing. Thank you very much, everybody, for your panel. I've got a statement and a question. First of all, my statement is that I'm from the Anglophone part of the Pacific, so unfortunately I don't speak French. So it would have been great to have some kind of like a context and a translation of our brother's performance before the panel began. So that would have been great. My second question is, when we talk about trance dance, what Marcel is talking about, and you guys are all talking about how, you as Melanesians coming together to explore the spiritual realm, I'm wanting to understand how do you negotiate this indigenous spirituality in Melanesia with Christianity?
Sorry. Man,
I didn't understand the last bit. I didn't understand the last bit. Sorry.
How do you
spirituality. How do we
negotiate
the church?
indigenous spirituality with Christianity?
Christian?
Is that fair?
Yeah.
Nice question.
The thing with the Christianity in my country, like in my place, for them it was easy because we already have God, and they just transformed the name Jesus into our God, Tagaro. And just when the first people came, the Christianity came in my place. We were already believers of gods and spirits. And it was easy for them just to trans the thing to their advantage. And now, we kind of, both things we can't separate both things. The God that I'm talking about and their gods that they're talking about, I think it's the same. They belong to the same kingdom. They have the same things for the human, really. And how now we deal with it, we separate them. Yeah. custom is custom, church is church.
Yes.
And that's how we deal with it, like in my place,
It's the same.
basically. But the thing is, the belief is the same. And with the Christianity, the whole story about the kings and the queens moved from Solomon Island, if you read the little piece of paper. The origin of this story is gods, children of the gods. They were kind of like the woman down in Solomon, Renbel and Bellona in Solomon. So they came down from the sky and go and sleep with them and have children. And those children became queens and kings. And they travel around because, Renal and Bellona, it's a small place for queens and kings to share. So some people went down to Aotearoa, some people went through Fiji, and because they were people of children of the gods, they were able to pull islands out of the water from stories, And Christianity, when people heard about these angels came down with and sleep with human women down and have children, they kind of do the connection. It's the same thing, the same. So but now how we deal with it, we just separate both things. One is belong to the Western world and one is belong to us. I'm straight.
The other panelists think.
Yep.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Separate. Yeah, no, separate totally. Choose one or the other at the appropriate time to fit what you want to say.
I would answer. It's a good question and very difficult to answer. I think it's quite complicated especially when you are an artist and you want to do something which not in one side, not on the other side, but something in between. And sometimes it's very difficult for an artist to kind of exist between the custom on one side and the religion on the other side. And I think in a lot of islands and a lot of places, we try to find a fair balance between both. And it's always a question of negotiation of the time you are, but there's always some conflict between the both. I remember just not long ago there was this question in Papua New Guinea, in Port Moresby, in the House of Parliament, where some of the members of the Parliament wanted to take out all the devils.
They did.
And the devils were the carvings from their own culture. So sometimes it's something which is sometimes very difficult for a single person to cope with, and for a group when there is tension and people try to readjust the benefit from it and the benefit of the other side. So difficult.
Hi.
Merci pour vos interventions. Je veux poser une question sur la relation entre les deux publics, le public initié des îles et le public des grands espaces comme ici. I'd like to ask a question about the relationship between the two publics, an initiated public from the island and an audience which is for great larger spaces like this one. So kind of the space between working in two ceremonial registers, one that is accessible to Anglo-European audiences here and elsewhere in the region, and then ones from our cultures in the islands.
The question was in French as well, so you guys heard it. Does anyone want to answer?
Like for me as an artist, I'm struggling all the time with those two words like the initiated one and the non-initiated ones. Like the same with the Christianity and my customs. As artists, we're just in the middle of everything and face everything, take and trance dance or trance chant or trance. Yeah, those two words are just so different that when you're in the middle, you're just too different, really. And you can be understood from both sides. That's the good of it, like as artists. Now, I don't know about Nico or Julia, their feeling about that. But yeah, for myself, it's just like, yeah. Sometimes it's hard, like when you talk to some people and they don't know what you're talking about. Really. Yeah.
You just have to be adaptable, and I think it depends on the context of where you are and what you say and how you change to fit your audience. But at the same time, you need to choose whether or not they actually need to know anyway, and maybe you just do what you got to do, and they pick it up, what they take from it, because often as artists and people, you go into different situations and you just got to cope. Like Nico is right now with the language, so deal. Yeah, but I agree with Marcel. It's just it's like a moment by moment kind of experience. So when things arise, and then you make your decisions as you go. You roll with it.
It's to be just with you, simply. So if you are just, you're not wrong. And after people can say everything.
Be honest to yourself. Yes.
Yeah. So we have time for one more question.
Thank you. Thank you very much, everyone. First and foremost, I congratulate you all for everything you've done. Secondly, when you walk into that, it brought me into the installation, it brought me back. The way I look at it is the whole setting is what in Vanuatu they call the Nasara, or the Nakamal, which is the sacred house. I don't know whether I'm supposed to say this or not, but that's the view I get. And when you get into the circle represent to me is the Nasara, which is sacred dance for where the ceremonies happen. And what we represented there is the jungle that represents everything and being playful. And thank you very much for representing Melanesia from the context of contemporary and without losing the context of the cultural perspective in there. And that makes me really proud. Thank you all. And just to do a comment on what about Christianity, I think for me and my experience, through what I've learned and what I've seen from Melanesia and throughout the Pacific, whilst others, in terms of Christianity, whilst others may have given up totally the customs, the traditional knowledge, in a sense where they've taken on Christianity. Melanesians, however, this is speaking from what I learned and what we practice back at home in Bougainville and Papua New Guinea, and most Melanesian countries I've been associating with this. While others may have totally given up their cultures to take on Christianity, Melanesians have taken on Christianity and assimilated it back into what they've already had, because the beliefs from Christianity to what we had in place, the system we had in place, there's a lot of similarities. So they've just taken on what worked for them. So in present day Christianity and custom in Papua New Guinea and Bougainville in most of the Melanesian countries is, if you have a wedding, you perform you have a traditional wedding and you have a Christian wedding, and therefore two things go in hand. Mm-hmm. But there's a place and a time for everything. As an artist, as you said, you choose and pick what works, and as Julia said, you choose what you give out and what you keep, and that's how it works from my experience, and that's how I've seen how it works. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for what you've said. It reminds me an answer. When I was attending a morning ceremony, and I saw the people doing the customary things. And before that, they have done the Christian things. And I ask the elders and say, how can you do both? Because obviously, we don't say the same things. On one side, we say, now you go to your father up there. And on the other speech, you say, now you go, you follow the mountains, and you go down into water, where you come from. And I say, if there's any conflict in that, and you say, no. You see, in our language, we have two words for spirit. One is for the Christians, and the other one is for custom. But they will both reunite on the other life. I thought it was quite wise, and it's go with the kind of adaptation you have in Melanesia.
It's like covering both bases just in case.
That's right.
Yeah. Yeah, Melanesians are good at that.
True.
Are we getting the hurry up, are we? Well, thanks very much, everybody, for coming along. These guys are pretty busy today. There's a few more performances and some tattooing happening and that kind of thing, and then another talk, I think. But if you can catch them anywhere, I strongly recommend having a chat to them. Thanks very much for coming along. Thanks for the questions. And we'll see you around.
Okay, thank you.
And thanks to these guys.